Lady Mom.
Adelaide drinking the marmalade.
Shut up.
Oh, is that stuff dangerous?
No.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Timey-Wimey Talks
Podcast.
with your girls.
Or Hangout. It's us.
It's us, Tyara and Alyssa.
Mm-hmm. We were all so excited for this one.
I know. Okay, so we're doing an episode on water on Mars.
The waters of Mars.
The waters of Mars.
Get it right.
Did it age well? Is it a good episode? Do we like it? Because at first, like Alyssa said, as a kid, it was like, I hated this episode because like the creatures were just disgusting.
They were too scary. I couldn't even pay attention. Like the ice blue contacts.
I just hated every part of it because like
it.
as a child I was just disturbed and I could not focus on the episode because I was disturbed. So,
but we revisited it and it's actually impeccable.
Yeah, so now we brought it back because y'all said to bring it back because this is apparently one of your guys' favorites. So Alyssa's going to do a little bit of a rundown.
Yeah, and I'm going to try and keep it short because I tend to go on and on.
She's
and
a rambler.
on. You can ask Tyara about that if you want to. The doctor comes to Mars and he finds the first human settlement like outside of Earth. So it's the first expedition out into space. And he arrives and he realizes like this is a fixed point. Like I have to go. I need to go. I can't affect this. But Adelaide takes his spacesuit, so he can't leave. He follows her to kind of figure out what the issue is because there's some issue that happens in the biodome and they have to go check it out. Basically, there's this glacier that they pulled their water from and they run it through filters. And you find out later that later that one of the filters broke. But it was turning the crew, if you touch it or if you taste the water. One drop. It was turning them into Mars monsters. Like water monsters. They got cracked faces and they spew water out of their mouths and they always have their mouths open and their eyes are like this. And you're just mesmerized and creeped out. And it's really good. It's just really good. So I won't spoil it. What do you like about the episode, Tyara?
So there's a couple mysteries in the episode. So the doctor's here. He just immediately wants to leave because he knows there's a fixed point and he can't intervene. And he knows that this whole space crew is going to die. And no one knows why they're going to die. And so his curiosity is like, he's like, I should go. But then he's like, I kind of want to know why.
It's like, I
really want to know why they end up dying. And he's like, once I figure it out, I'll leave. But then, you know, the doctor, like, he can't just leave people stranded.
No, of course not.
So it's just like, he's definitely like the curiosity kills the cat. Like, he needs to know why, you know, what everything's happening because he's clever and he just needs to know. So I like how it follows the doctor's curiosity because he should really just leave this planet on a fixed point because he has rules and time. He knows that he can't mess with this point in fixed time.
But he can't help it.
And so like Georgia, one of the commenters of the post, says she really likes Doctor Who episodes that focus on the development of the Doctor and kind of what's going on in his head. And this is definitely one of those episodes where you see the conflict within himself and why his companions being with him and having a companion is so important and having specifically a human with him is so important because their time is finite.
I was just going to say that actually. I was going to be like, their lives are finite.
Yeah. We're blending into each other.
We're so connected sometimes.
And so their lives are finite. So they value the importance of, you know, their significance, you know, and their impact on Earth.
Right.
And so when we find out later that Adelaide,
the captain,
Lemonade, Marmalade,
when Miss Marmalade, Lady Mom,
Adelaide drinking the marmalade.
Shut up.
We find she's really important.
Her granddaughter becomes the first one to go out into space and like she's inspired by her death to go and journey out into the stars. So, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was perfect. So yeah, so the fixed point is important because there's a lot that comes after her, and her death is inspiring and is important in time. And then the importance of them being finite is like she's like her time and her importance was fixed, and she's like, don't take away my importance because you want to be greater.
Oh, Adelaide's
Adelaide's
speech
importance.
at the end,
Yeah, like he was trying to take away her importance of her time being finite just because he wanted to prove a point to say that I can be greater and save everybody. And he needed Adelaide basically at the end to kill herself to say, you're not going to take away my importance just because you want to prove a point. If you have the power to save someone without it ruining time, like that's different.
Go ahead.
That's different. But you are on a power hungry trip and you're not like humanizing to our situation.
You could have just ruined the whole entire future of the human race just because you needed to prove something.
Yeah, and it just shows like Adelaide's a smart woman, and it's just like she put him in check when he's being out of control, and he needs somebody to humble him and say time is finite. You can't just because you're a god, like, and you're a Time Lord and you have all this power, doesn't mean you can abuse that power. And now you can see the consequences that you have on it.
And it was a really good moment at the end when he's like walking back to the TARDIS and he's hearing everything that's happening like on the ship, and he basically realizes like, I'm the last Time Lord, like what can I do except save people because I can travel back to these moments. Like, is that the point of me? Like, it should be the point of me because no one else can do it. So, and at this point too, he's just lost. He saw Rose again the end of the 4th season, and Donna was there too. He loses Rose because of what happens with the Dr. Donna, and I forget what it's called, but remember when Donna touches the doctor's hand and then it grows a new doctor? That new second version of the doctor goes to live with Rose. So this doctor, he can't have Rose. He says goodbye to her forever. With Donna, he has to erase her memory because she's the Dr. Donna and her brain can't handle all of that that's going on in her head. So we get a bunch of specials, and then he's just kind of devolved into what you said, just like this lord, like the king of all. Like, he's got the power, but he does need those people to hold him back and keep him in check.
And hold him accountable. And we see this time and time again when the doctor gets vengeful and angry when something happens to his companions, when he no longer has them and when he misses them. He gets on these like vengeful power trips where he's like angry, you know, and he's like, I can do anything. Like, why? I think it's like to prove a point. He's like, I can do anything. Why couldn't I like just have them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he can have everything except what he wants. And that makes him so angry that he like lashes out, like how we see in this episode.
Yeah, I think Adelaide at the end, I love the ending, by the way. It ends so differently than a lot of episodes, and it's not like the best ending, you know, like everyone's happy and everyone lives, blah, blah, blah. But it's so important because I think Adelaide says no one should have that much power, and the doctor goes, tough. And it really just shows you like, oh, it's so good. Like, just the way they talk, and then Adelaide goes inside to, you know, correct history. He goes on an ego trip and he takes in too much power, and it's not so good because he could have changed the future of the entire human race.
Of entire history. Because even the Dalek, we don't know why the Dalek didn't choose to kill Adelaide, because in the episode, Adelaide says,
call her whatever you want at this point.
I cannot. It's a tongue twister for me. I can't do it. But she says that she witnessed the Daleks and they killed her family. And she saw a Dalek, and instead of killing her, it just looked at her. And you don't know if it was compassion, but what the doctor says is it's because you're important.
You're a fixed point.
You're a fixed point in history. And even the Dalek, I love that they added that Dalek in there because it shows even the Dalek had more self-control than the doctor at the end.
I know, their one purpose is to kill everything that's not them. And it still had more self-control than the one who's supposed to save everyone.
And like the doctor says, like, oh, there's no one to check me, so who's gonna check me? And even the Dalek was like, you know what, I'm gonna check myself. Like, what? Even the Dalek had a self-realization moment that the doctor couldn't even have.
Love that for the Daleks. Yeah, no, you're right. And I actually wrote something down too. I was curious. I was like trying to remember the episodes before because I was like, is this the first time the Doctor has tried to change that fixed point, like a fixed point in history? Like well, no, he went to Pompeii with Donna. He did talk about it in the episode, but
Yeah.
this was one where he was like, okay, I learned my lesson. I can't change anything. And then he was like, no, you know what? I'm on a power trip. I can change it. Like he had a different attitude about this fixed point. Just want to throw it in there. We all have to be aware on July 1st, 2058. That's when they settle on Mars. And that's going to be the first human colony. And we just have to make sure we double check all the water, okay?
Make sure the filters fit right.
Make sure you get the right filters sent to the spaceship.
Okay, so that we all don't die.
Station.
And you know, it was like such a sad moment in the episode. One of the crew was dying, and she plays her kid or her family members. I'm not really sure what
I think it's her
family
children.
member is. Like before she goes, and then you just see. And I think that's like also a point when the Doctor kind of was like, "Oh my gosh,
like this is messed up. I gotta do
and
something."
It's hard to tell whether he was saving them at first because he was empathetic or more because he was doing it for a selfish reason.
I think it was both.
Yeah, it was like both. You know, like he was empathetic to the situation, and then he was just like, I can do anything I want.
Like he's the
and then
Doctor.
It became selfish.
He took his oath to never do harm or whatever. So he's like, by leaving this station, even though it is a fixed point, I am indirectly doing harm because I'm not helping, because I'm not doing anything about it, and I know about it, and I know what's about to happen. So shouldn't I at least try? And I was about to cry in that moment too, because it was like, that was one thing that was really good in this episode too, is in the beginning too, you see the first guy changing and it's just blurry in the background, and then the other lady, she is just like talking away and her shot is in clear view. That's what I really liked about Midnight too. And so you see this lady changing, and then you see her walking towards the others after she's been transformed, and you can still hear her kids talking, like in the background. And that was sad.
That was so impactful.
It
was so impactful.
They do really well with like those little moments in this episode, I think.
It was like, how long could the Doctor go with people crying for help and him not doing anything?
It was like a test.
Yeah,
kind
like
of.
You see how far, like how many people he just let die. Like how many things like did it take of people crying for help for him to intervene and go against even what his rules are for himself.
It was just getting worse and worse and worse. What's your breaking point?
Yeah.
You know?
Like Georgia says, it's like interesting to like have these episodes where you can go into the mind of the Doctor and see what he's mentally struggling with and his reactions to things, because he has like somewhat similar human reactions. You know, like he's not perfect. Like we all see him as this perfect person who makes no wrong and we love and he saves the universe. But no, at the end, it takes a human to put him in check and to kill herself. And I think that's what he realized. He was like, I did more harm than I did good in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, he realizes that he's wrong.
He's like, I didn't help. This was for selfish reasons. And it was also a test on the humans too, to see how much that they wanted to live, because we saw on the episode, they're like, oh, we want Earth. That's what we want. And Adelaide was like, I want to live. I don't really care what happens. I want to live. So it was really a test on everybody, where the Doctor's like, I'm sorry, like, how bad do you want to live?
Yeah.
Because you're going to ruin the whole entire planet. Like, you realize that. And so it was a test on her to realize, like, she had, like, so much courage and, like, rules, her own rules throughout the whole episode, and even she almost breaks at the end, like how the Doctor like broke. You know, like you see the development of not only the humans, but you see the similarities of humans and the Doctors, because it's like, how much can you take before you break? How much can the Doctor take before he breaks? And then how much can Adelaide take before she's like, I don't care, Doctor. I know you're saying that I'm going to die and this is a fixed point, but I don't care.
I have to save myself. I have to save the people I'm responsible for. Like, this is a huge friggin' thing. I really like that point. Just the development of whatever happens, you know, the whole earth is hanging in the balance. And it's like, well, my life has been life on Mars for the past like whatever. And this is my family, ultimately. You know, they see the videos of everyone back at home, but still, gotta save everybody here first.
And you see the courage of everyone else who, like, at one of the points when they're about to escape on the rocket, he's like, it's been compromised. Like, I have to go. Like, I'm like, don't come. And everyone had the self-respect enough to kill themselves in order to save everybody, and was like, had a moment of realization, like, just go. Like, save yourself. Like, everybody in this episode had a chance to, like, self-realization.
They're almost better than the Doctor in a
They
lot
were
of ways.
yeah, that's kind of like,
and they're just humans, and the Doctor is the Time Lord Victorious,
yeah,
or whatever. And it's just like, okay, yes, you did do good and you saved these people, but like, what's more important? You know, like, these people were ready and willing to give up their lives to save everything, and you just possibly compromised the entire future just because you wanted to save people. Like, I get it, I get the sentiment, but they were smarter than him.
And the Doctor made a point where he's talking to Adelaide and was like, you tell everybody in this planet, like, that you gave up everything for this mission. She already gave up her life.
Yeah.
And I think she didn't realize that to the end when she was about to die. She's like, I already gave up my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, this is the be all end all.
This was it. Mars like, mission. I came to this mission to help save the planet. But the Doctor doesn't realize that, but it's like, you already saved somebody who already gave up everything.
They've already resigned to, like, have their life
to have their whole life on this Mars planet. You know? So it's like, you saving them, they didn't want to be saved. They're doing this for their own, you know, unselfish causes, noble causes, for the betterment of the Earth.
Yeah. Just like the concept of, like, human life and it being somebody's choice to, like, live or die. Like, have you seen Me Before You?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like, how he has to go to, I think it's Switzerland, to, like, end his life.
That, oh
and
my god,
the
watch
whole
that
time,
movie. I cried I watched it in the movie theater. I cried for hours.
Yeah.
After it. I could not get myself together.
It's such a good movie. It
Me
really
Before
is.
You. Me Before You.
Me Before You.
It's a really sad rom-com where
so it's a rom-sad.
Rom-sad. It's not a com. It's a rom-com sad depression. It's horrible.
Yeah. No, it's really good. And it does put those, like, it makes you think about that kind of concept of, like, should we allow people to choose to kill themselves? Like, should we allow that, or is it for the betterment that we, like, force them to live? What if they don't want to?
Yeah,
you know. And it echoes that idea really well too.
Another movie that this reminded me of, like, the concepts of kind of like the main point of the story, was The Neverending Story. So as a kid, I watched Neverending Story. They had it in theaters again. I didn't understand the concept of the movie. But basically, this kid loses his mom, and the whole point of The Neverending Story is he goes through this whole adventure where he reads a book and he's in the story. And at the end, he has to, like, make up memories. He skips school. His mom dies. He's a little kid. So he's kind of, like, giving up on his schoolwork.
Nothing matters
anymore. He's not going to practice. He's getting bullied. He's just, like, in this depression. And so he reads this book, The Neverending Story, which engulfs him in this story. And at the end, the whole point of it is, which one of the character tells him was, like, if you stop dreaming, your mom's memory dies. You know? So it's like, Adelaide sees that her life is going to be lived through all of those people. So she's not dead. She stays alive through their memories and their missions. And she sees that at the end. And it just kind of reminded me of the Neverending Story, because, like, just because it dies doesn't mean your story ends. Your story continues.
Or like Coco. You know the movie Coco, Pixar?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's really good. You should. I watch it so many times. I cry every time. But yeah, you're totally right. Like, she knew that, and the Doctor has lived for hundreds and hundreds of years at this point. He forgot.
He forgot that, like, okay, just because she's gonna be gone doesn't mean her story ends. And he knows that at the beginning, but then forgets that, you know?
Yeah, because it's all through the course of an episode. And I'm sure she realized this point, Adelaide. She realized this point as soon as the doctor told her in the airlock, like, you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
She has to process that and think about that.
At first, it's like the 4 steps of grief: rejection, depression, then acceptance, and then the right decision making.
We love that for her.
Yeah,
she was really smart. I told Tyara too. I was like, at the beginning when they found the first water crew person, infected person, the doctor says, we need to leave, and she immediately turns around and goes. Like, she was so smart for that. There are so many times I feel like in Doctor Who where a character will be like, oh, what's your name? Oh, what's going on? No, it's okay. You can come here. And Adelaide's just like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Like, she knew. She was smart the entire way through.
No, she was like a really good captain where it's like, it almost seemed like she was unempathetic, but she was doing it for the rest of the crew. Like, you need a strong leader who's gonna keep everybody together.
And I think we talked about that before too in Midnight? Yeah, so strong leadership throughout this episode.
Yeah, no, she was amazing. At the end, all of her words that she said at the end, just...
Oh, so good.
Tell the doctor.
I'm
Put
like,
him in
I
place.
want to
be the companion.
Yeah, I want her to be the companion. He was leading her on the whole time too. I was like, stop.
What, like
when
flirting with her?
Not like flirting, but the way that like I was like, I would fall in love with him for that. he was like, I loved that about you. Like, and you're so important. You changed the entire future of the human race, and everyone's inspired by you. I was like, me?
You're like me. You're like, I wish that was me so
bad. Like, I want to be a hot old lady. Dude, I want to be a GILF.
That old lady was a GILF for sure.
Damn, Adelaide.
I was like, I first saw on the camera, I was like, dude, how old do you think she is? And like, she like fine as hell.
Ageless.
Like,
that's her age. Yeah, we don't know.
Like, she looked good. She aged like fun.
And at the end when they used Gadget, the robot, to like fly the TARDIS, when he was like, who needs clamps? I've got a funny robot. And then the Gadget, first of all, good thing there were no bumps on the surface of Mars in the one path that he had to take to get to the TARDIS. But they used him to like take the key and like unlock the TARDIS and then fly it to like save everyone. I was like, oh, that's so fun. Sutek was like, what the hell? I bet he was losing his mind. He saw this little robot flying up here at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Okay. This was a big point that I wanted to make, and I can't believe I almost forgot it. I almost forgot. Because we were talking about it before too, like near the end when the doctor starts to go on his power trip or whatever. I thought it was really, really cool how you're watching him and all of his own words echoing in his mind as he's convincing himself to go back. And he realizes he has a bigger responsibility to life, being last of the Time Lords. And you kind of sit there, like, I feel like as the audience member, and you also start to believe that. But at the same time, towards the end, when he does save everyone and he does like fulfill that responsibility, and after you have believed this too, then your mind gets changed along with his. Like, we were all wrong. We were all wrong, and it really took me by surprise because I was thinking the same thing, and that
like you
do have a responsibility.
You do have a responsibility to them.
And so it was really cool to turn it on its head and kind of change my mind again. I thought that's really good writing.
Yeah.
I really
like where it makes you reflect on yourself, where it's like, no, just save them. Like, forget about the laws of time.
Yes, like you have to save them. You have a responsibility.
Like, do it. Help them. Save them. And then you're happy that he changes his mind at the end. And it wasn't until the end that you realize that you're saving them. Yeah. Like, you're not actually...
That's actually a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't realize that too. Like, I feel like you can never guess what's going to happen next in this episode either. Like, a lot of like new ideas and a lot of, well, old ideas but done well too. So all around, like, I'm gonna say 9 out of 10 because when the and it was really fun, but when he speeds up Gadget and then the like guy controlling Gadget is like,
I hated that. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
It was so cheesy. It was hilarious.
So cheesy.
But it was so cheesy.
It was so cheesy.
Freaking killed me, bro.
But it was a solid episode. So
Yeah.
thank you, Georgia.
Thank you for recommending
making
it.
us watch this episode,
Mhm.
forcing
And
us
someone
against
else-
our will.
Against our will. There's the gun, like, in the back.
Yeah.
She just...
Georgia's just out the window, just like sniper ready.
And we don't know your pronouns, so please correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, that...
But thank you. It was
Someone else said they really were excited to
yeah,
watch
we're excited
this too.
for this episode. So thank you.
Mhm.
It was an amazing
It
episode.
was so good.
I
And I
wanna know
forgot how good it was.
Why you guys like this episode so
Mhm,
much? So
mhm.
like, what were your points? Why do you guys like? What do you love about
What's
the
so good about
development
it? Yeah.
of the Doctor that you saw in this episode?
And I'm sure we sometimes I wish we could have like a watch along all together, because like there's some points I feel like we like completely forget to make
Mhm. And then
until
you
after.
guys, or till after, or you guys make a really good point.
Mhm.
And then it's just like, oh my gosh, like I want to talk about that more.
I know,
Like that's a good
I know.
point. Like, can we just
We're passionate,
add
y'all.
some
Uh-huh.
add to this channel?
Uh-huh. So thanks for staying active and like talking to us and being excited for our episodes.
Yeah,
And we really appreciate you
y'all.
guys. It's really fun to nerd out together.
Exactly.
And be super
like
passionate
to hear
about
your
something
stuff, and I was
together.
like, oh my god, yes, that
Yes.
that's a really good point.
You're so right.
This was a
Thanks.
really serious episode, so
Yeah.
not a lot
just-
of our commentary, but it deserves our full attention.
And it was a really good lead up into the other episodes. The End of Time, parts 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to watch it so bad, but I know I would cry. So I'm not going to. Maybe I will tonight. But anyways, go follow us on TikTok at timey.wimey.talks. Leave a comment, start a conversation,
Yeah.
smash that like button,
Let
smash
us
that
know what you want us to watch
notification bell.
next.
Yes.
What you want us to talk about.
I know.
We're here for you guys.
We're getting a
We're
lot of good
here-
feedback on reimagining the finale, right?
Mhm.
So maybe some more original content like that.
So yeah, let us know what you guys want to see, and thank you for watching.
Thank you so much. Smash that like button, notification bell, hit a little subscribe button if you want to be cool.
Love y'all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Until next time.
Thank ya.